you hear Hiroshima, what do you think? Quite possibly you think of the atomic bomb that was dropped here in 1945. But it's such a sad history to this city, and yet there are so many other beautiful places to explore. So we want to show you the side of Hiroshima that people perhaps don't get to see, and that is the beautiful city that is rebuilt from the ashes. We're going to see some beautiful gardens like this one here, the Shukkeien Gardens. We're also going to see Hiroshima Castle. Of course, we'll check out the Peace Park and the atomic bomb dome as well. But we also want to take you to Miyajima Island. So come along on this Hiroshima adventure and see why Hiroshima should be on your travel list when you come to Japan.
On August the 6th, 1945, the population of Hiroshima was 255,000 people. Then the United States of America dropped the first ever atomic bomb on the city of Hiroshima, killing over 140,000 people. Behind me is the atomic bomb dome, right on the Motoyatsu River. And when the bomb dropped, that survived. Lots of the tiles from the dome ended up in the river. Many of the people were jumping in the river to escape the bomb blast and the flames. It actually obliterated a 2-mile radius from the bomb center where it dropped, which was literally just right here. Not much survived. Today is now a UNESCO World Heritage Site, but at the time, a lot of the survivors wanted it torn down and removed so they didn't have this remembrance of what took place, of the atrocity that happened here. But many, on the other hand, wanted to have this preserved as a remembrance of actually what did happen, that we shouldn't forget the atrocity that was done to the people of Hiroshima. The city has completely rebounded. It shows its resilience. Now it is a 1.2 million population, and it has beautiful, peaceful gardens everywhere. And now it's a green city. There's so much to explore, but we're just going to have a look at a little bit of the history of actually what took place during the bombing and after. There's the A-bomb dome. And this bridge right behind me here is in the shape of a T. So from the sky, when the bomber was flying over to drop the bomb, he looked down and they said that you'll see a bridge that has the shape of a T. So, I mean, you can check out this little picture here of what it looked like, the shape of the T of this bridge. And that's what they were aiming for, to drop the bomb straight on top of that. But it landed just over here. There's the A-dome at 160 meters just over there was the hypercenter. Have a look at these photos, some of the pictures from the actual event. And just sort of give you an idea of before and after. Over the other side of the river, with this beautiful memorial Peace Park. Before they dropped the bomb, this was just a beautiful village right through here, and this was completely wiped out, and people that actually made it survive the blast, buried under the rubble, then were killed by the fires that just swept through, because everything was timber and paper back then. So surreal to think the atomic bomb did that 80 years ago. And because it was dropped only 160 meters from here, most of the inside of the steel stayed, and structure, the building stayed intact. This here is a symbol of a bell of peace. And this was dedicated to the people of Hiroshima for the amount of lives that were lost. This is the Children's Peace Monument, and it's all made out of little origami cranes in a symbol of peace to all the children that were killed during the bombing. People are lining up to be able to pay their respects. Walking through, it's just a bit of a sobering reminder of just the atrocities that man inflict on each other. There's a museum here now, the Hiroshima Museum, and has all the stories of the aftermath, what took place, and a little bit of the history of Hiroshima before that. And you can see why it was completely flattened, because a lot of it was just all timber structure houses back then.
Timber and paper.
Timber and paper, yeah. But the city now, 80 years later, is completely rebuilt into a concrete jungle with beautiful gardens and parks.
It's actually a really nice modern city. They've rebuilt it into a nice modern city. It feels really well planned out, spaced out, nice gardens in between.
We're going to make our way now into the Hiroshima Museum, and here is the whole story of really Hiroshima before the bombing and then after the bombing. And that's the T section where the bomb, they looked and dropped it on. And there's the dome over there. Horrendous. Just looking at how much of the city was absolutely destroyed.
place.
So we just come out of the Hiroshima Peace Museum, and this whole building all the way behind me, that's all part of the museum, and it's just you're walking through and just reading the stories of what took place at that time by the survivors, and it's quite harrowing. This whole family's completely devastated. You know, maybe one survivor, a whole family had to look after themselves, and then mass starvation took place. There was nothing here you could grow. So if you get a chance when you come to Hiroshima, the museum's absolutely worth it. Well, this is the most famous Okonomiyaki restaurant in Hiroshima, right near the Peace Memorial Park. Hiroshima claims that they had the original first Okonomiyaki. Straight after the bombing and after the war, a lot of people were starving, and they just found cabbage and eggs, and then they fried it, and this became a bit of a national dish. But this one is known as the most authentic Okonomiyaki in Hiroshima. I think we might have to go and try it. Taking a ticket. Okonomiyaki. Way! Oh, that's different.
Good different?
Yeah, it's good different. The craft beer, Miyajima Pale Ale. And that's why it's got the Torii gate shrine on the front. And that is their #1 famous Hiroshima Okonomiyaki. One udon noodle, pork.
One oyster, squid, shrimp.
Are these extra toppings?
Yeah, you pick as many as you want. Some of them cost, some of them don't.
Okay, so you can add squid, prawns, oysters on top, plus with the pork and bacon. They are all extras added on to the original. And I'm going the authentic original Hiroshima Okonomiyaki. There's so many complex layers to it, from egg, noodles, cabbage, like you can add prawns, oysters, squid. Looks pretty tasty with their special sauce.
I got the udon with shrimp and cheese. Okay.
Serena's got the udon. I've got the famous soba noodles, cabbage, egg on top with a bit of prawns.
And I've got the thicker udon noodles with cheese and shrimp as well.
Cheers.
Oh, a nice soft noodles, soft fat noodles. Really good. It's cheesy. The miso sauce on top is tasty, really good. And we've of course put a bit of mayonnaise on.
Unique for Hiroshima, these ones. Amazing how these dishes evolved from famine and everything gripped after the war.
Actually, probably a lot of the foods that are the most comforting foods are foods that were born from necessity.
Yeah.
You know, times of war, times of need, you had to get creative.
Yeah, fried rat, so tasty.
We're off exploring around Hiroshima. I tell you what, you could not get around without having data and having GPS, and even to have data to read some of the signs, because there's a lot of stuff that's not in English here in Japan. So we've really appreciated our Holafly sims, that's for sure. And actually Holafly is awesome, 180 countries it covers, so on your next trip grab a Holafly sim, and if you use our link in the description below you can get 5% off.
Hiroshima is surrounded by rivers. Some are tidal rivers, and just amazing to think all this has been completely rebuilt in 80 years. It's a pretty modern city now. One of the newest cities in Japan.
Got nice big walkways, footpaths, wide streets.
I didn't realise how hot it was here for their summers.
Yeah.
It is really humid and got the real 38, 40 degree heat. No wonder so many Aussies are escaping Australia's winter, coming to Japan for their summer.
Yeah, getting scorched, that's for sure.
Here's another interesting thing. Did you know Hiroshima is home to Mazda? This is where the big Mazda headquarters is and the Mazda manufacturing plant is. And they actually got a Mazda museum, and you can go and check out, if you're into Mazdas, all the history of Mazda being made here in Hiroshima. But I'm not a Mazda man, I'm a Toyota boy. So
unfortunately we won't be taking you to the Mazda museum on this trip.
yeah,
You'll have to come yourself if you want to see it.
if you're a Mazda fan. So another great dining out place if you're in Japan is the 7-Elevens. Now you may laugh, but don't laugh, because 7-Elevens, they've got beers, whiskies, they've got so much pre-made food there. They're nothing like a 7-Eleven in Australia. And here's an interesting fact. If you were to visit all the 7-Elevens in Japan, visit one every day, it would take you 60 years to visit every one. That's how popular they are. There's so many of them spread all over. Go in and get a cold drink. Behind me is Hiroshima Castle. Originally it was built in 1590. What you see now had been rebuilt again after the atomic bomb explosion here in Hiroshima. The explosion absolutely demolished the castle. There was bits and pieces of it around the place that they were able to use. Some of the emblems, tiles were scattered everywhere, and they were able to use some parts of it in restoration. But the whole thing was rebuilt again after the atomic bomb explosion here in Hiroshima. So now we're looking at about an 80-year-old castle. Let's go in and have a look. When you come into Hiroshima Castle now, inside is a museum, and each level tells a bit of the history of the castle from the periods it survived, and then a lot of the samurais and the shoguns that ruled this area, and a bit of the history of all that. So then the destruction of the castle, the only thing that survived was the foundation after the bombing, to then it being rebuilt again, to it's trying to use as much natural materials as they used back then. And now it's a great tourist destination. Hundreds of thousands of visitors every year come to visit the castle. Well, the 5th floor is a observatory, gives you 360-degree views around the whole castle and the city of Hiroshima. And the original moat, it's still here. Pretty cool views, nice in the shade, bit of a breeze.
And the architecture, like if they have really recreated it as it was, it's beautiful.
They've done well, except, you know, the quality of the materials they use now compared to what they used back 500 years ago. The carpenters were much better back then than now, I'll tell you that. There's some beautiful views up here around the whole city. We've now come to the 400-year-old Shukkeien Garden. After the bomb exploded, and then this is still that tree. Over 80 years ago, the bombing happened. Tree still here. Everything else was flattened around it, but that survived. Amazing. Still dark and charred. How cool is this? Shukkeien Park, and we've got turtles and fish all here waiting for us to feed them, which you're allowed to do here at the Shukkeien Garden. When you come into the entrance at the ticket gate, you can buy special feed for the fish and turtles for 100 yen. This garden, just walking around through it, turtles everywhere, fish everywhere. It's a good place to escape the heat. Just walking through the garden, it's in the shaded areas, so much cooler, the water, the breeze. Time now for dinner, and we're keen for a ramen, which is regarded as the national dish of Japan. A lot of Japanese restaurants have these little bars you sit at and you eat there while they cook the food in front of you. We're done. After the dumplings, we've got some ramen coming. And that one's a nice ramen. Arigato.
It looks so good. I'm going to try some more. Wow. It's like pork and seafood together. It's really delicious.
Well, today we're making our way to Miyajima ferry port here in Hiroshima, and we're going to catch a ferry over to Miyajima Island. Great little day excursion if you're here in Hiroshima.
It's like loading up cattle, isn't it?
Pretty much. We're landed on Miyajima Island in the Bay of Hiroshima, and it's quite famous for having a lot of deers on the island everywhere. You can walk up and have a look at them, pat them, but it's also got one of the most photographed shrines in all of Japan. It's an iconic landmark.
And it's a stinking hot day today.
Everyone's got the umbrellas up. Now, there's plenty of shade around.
Yeah.
Plenty of shade around. You can walk along the beach front here. Breeze, ocean breeze. Hello. One thing unique on the island is deer are everywhere here. Native deers to the island. They're very friendly with tourists and you're allowed to pat them. And if you've got food, they'll follow you around sometimes. But being nice and hot, you're just resting, aren't you, mate? Right? Pretty cool. Time for a quick stop for a specialty ice cream with coffee. Nice soft serve in this hot weather, perfect. Oh, there we go. Well, it's a coffee soft serve. Yeah. That is good. Tastes pretty good. Oh, that's hitting the spot. I'm pretty impressed so far with Miyajima Island. It's just cool walking around. Got all these shops everywhere, which is pretty cool. You can get drinks all the time.
It's got a nice vibe.
Sort of reminds me of Rottnest Island without the quokkas, but they got deers.
Yep, I would say the same.
And here's got more trees too.
And old Japanese style buildings.
Yeah, so looks nothing like Rottnest actually.
It's the same sort of vibe.
It's a nice sandy little beach waterfront here. Behind me is one of Japan's most iconic landmarks, the Torii Gate Shrine. And on high tide it looks like it's floating, and then low tide you can walk out and it's actually sitting on top of the sand bed, the ocean floor. It's actually 16 meters high by 22 meters wide, weighs over 60 tons. No idea what's going on there, but it's a pretty hot day and all those blokes are in the traditional sumo little outfit by the looks of it, and wrestling for a ball. They're having fun, that's all that matters on a hot day like today. Oh, some sort of like sumo wrestling, basketball, water polo, all mixed in one with your little white mankinis. White mankinis. Nothing for the imagination when they got out.
But on a day like today, I think we're just jealous. We would like to be in that water.
Yeah, not wrestling with them.
Stinking hot.
Happy to hop in the water.
But I'm sure they're having fun on their weekend.
Surprised about the jet skis coming up around that thing. I didn't think they'd be allowed to, but being such an old protected shrine.
Miyajima has quite a few historic and religious sites around the island, like Itsukushima Jinja, the 6th century Shinto complex built over water. We walk 103 steps up to Senjukaku Pavilion, commissioned by the warlord Toyotomi Hideyoshi in 1587. It's the largest wooden building on the island, spanning the size of 857 tatami mats.
It's cool coming up to these vermilion bridges and they go over the water. It's so cool and refreshing with little waterfalls. Have a look at this. Just beautiful walking through all the forest, the river flowing, birds, deers. It's just so peaceful and it's quite cool under all the canopy. And we're walking up to the ropeway. It's like a sky lift or a chair lift that takes you right up the top of the mountain here.
We've got this fan blowing in here. Is there any more air coming? Otherwise, do we just come in?
You have another one there.
Until we get up to the top. Hiroshima or is it Hiroshima? I grew up saying Hiroshima. Yeah,
we grew up in Hiroshima.
Hiroshima, is it?
Well, that's some of the locals say Hiroshima.
I'll get it.
But we say, we've always just known it as Hiroshima. Great views from the top, all over Hiroshima Bay. Well, we thought we made it to the top, but it's only halfway. Halfway station. That's for those who want to keep on walking and the rest can take the cable car. Oh, did you sit down? Awesome views, aren't they? Like just looking out over the bay, Hiroshima harbour. There's islands everywhere. Made it to the summit now, 430 metres up. Here's Mount Misen. It's absolutely spectacular views from the top of Mount Misen. This is not the summit. The summit is just up over there. And we'll see how far we can walk in this heat. There's a nice few stops along the way. But there's the cable car. That's comes up from down there. And down there's the midway before it goes down. But then you've got the whole city of Hiroshima right along the coast there. And it's just surrounded by so many islands. All in the Hiroshima harbour. It's just islands and islands, and there's some absolutely stunning beaches down here too as well. Absolutely beautiful. A little bit hazy today, quite hazy, but we're expecting around 40 degrees. keep our fluids up and find shade regularly. Okay, hiking up the top here. It's very still, no breeze around. It's beautiful when it do get a bit of a small breeze. So they got all these announcements going to drink water, it's so hot. So I think we wet that one out. So the Torii gates you see in the water down at the front of Miyajima, they were made straight from these big trees, these huge big trunks, and just made it back hundreds of years ago, straight from the island. They had all the timber they needed. And we've made it. Shade underneath here, everywhere. So now just have a relax and have a snooze before you do the big hike back there.
Nice breeze too coming through.
Are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's do this. Let's head back down.
Hold beer, here we come. We're leaving Hiroshima. We got thunder, rain coming, finally. Just missed it, the biggest lightning bolt and thunder.
Here comes the rain.
Yeah, starting to spit. We're getting racing to the train station. Now we're making our way, catching the bullet train to Tokyo. Bullet trains are pretty cool. They fit around the country pretty quick.
Sure do. It's only 2.5 hours on the bullet train up to Tokyo.
So we'll see you in Tokyo. That's how they should have the airplanes.